Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tastemakers podcast. This is, of course, a podcast where we talk through everything in the world of TV and film. What's new, what's good, what's bad. We taste it all. And I'm your host, Taran Armstrong. With me to talk through this week is Grace. How you doing, Grace?
I'm doing well, as always. Excited to chat about movies and TV and anything else.
Yes, we had a very fun episode last week where we talked about weapons with Taylor Hale.
Mm.
And this week, maybe a little bit of a shorter episode, but we both checked out Alien Earth, the hot new Alien show. And there are some upcoming things I'm a bit excited about. Peacemaker season 2 is coming, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And everything else going on here this week.
Everything else.
It's
a bit of a slow start. I feel like, did they do this at the TV? It was like, Taran's got those live feeds. They're wild. We got to slow down the schedule for the summer. It's been a little slow, I feel like, but that's okay.
I feel like, I feel like normally, like on a week like this, I'm like watching, like all of the little, like I'm watching Standing By and, like Butterfly.
I watched Butterfly. I'll tell you.
Grace does it for me. So not too much in the way of news on my end. I did see a trailer for the Mitchell and Webb Are Not Helping.
Yeah, I saw that. I feel like they're doing a lot. I feel like they must have gotten some clearance to be able to like post behind the scenes. But the cast for this show, if you're a Taskmaster fan, boy, is the cast for Mitchell and Webb looking very good. Stevie Martin, who's just on the latest season of Taskmaster, Kiel Bottom Smith, who was on Taskmaster as well. So yeah, this looks extremely fun. I'm excited for new Mitchell and Webb. Yeah.
Of course, they have had multiple sketch shows before, most famously the Mitch and Webb Look. That's where the Are We the Baddies comes from, Number Wang, a number of pretty famous sketches. And so they are reuniting for another season of, or a new version of it, I guess you should say.
Also, if you're looking for a show to watch right now, I feel like Ludwig is the thing that I would be like, you should go back and watch. People should go and check out Ludwig. It's on BritBox in the US. There's other ways to watch it as well, but if you're looking to catch up on something, Ludwig, very much recommend, with David Mitchell. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Again, though, not much else I saw in the way of news. Just some light stuff here and there. Some stuff, like, honestly, I'm not that super amped about in terms of like interesting news. But anything you notice?
Let me give you two. One is, are you a Bourne person at all? The Bourne, the Bourne. What's the first one?
The Bourne Identity.
Bourne Identity, obviously.
I think the Bourne Identity is a good movie. I liked it when it came out. I have zero interest in any of the other Bourne content.
Okay, let me this is like my sort of like this will be my question of the week. I haven't done this in a while. I'll ask the audience to weigh in. I'll ask you this question, Taran. You're the head of a studio. You get an IP, and obviously it depends on what IP you get, right? Like if you get, the Bourne Identity, or you get whatever else. Are you starting from scratch? So it's like new Jason Bourne. We're starting from the beginning of this thing. We're redoing it. Are you legacy sequeling it, where you're like are you getting Matt Damon in your thing, and it's like he's got to find the new kid or whatever, or the opposite, he shows up and finds Matt Damon, like Mark Hamill in Star Wars, like he shows up on an island, it's like, oh, you're here. Or are you like legacy, all the stuff's same, but it's like different. It's like Matt Damon was a thing, but he's not going to be in our show because he like overshadows whoever is our new Jason Bourne. What approach are you taking to rebooting the franchise? I mean, if you're not that interested in the Bourne franchise, is a bad question. Who cares?
Well,
but like in general, which one do you prefer? What do you prefer, the legacy to be kept intact, or try something new?
I think it depends, and I think that for me, with the Bourne Identity, the Bourne series, part of the reason I'm not interested in any of the futures, and I've seen some of them, is that like what made the Bourne Identity good was not Treadstone. Right? Like it was not the the conspiracy secret organization
Mhm.
angle stuff. In fact, I watched a video once, a YouTube video that was a very fun one, which was like, um, what if the Bourne Identity had all of the Treadstone stuff removed,
Right.
and or just in the as much in the dark as Matt Damon for most of the movie, and like that might have been a more fun movie. But like,
Right.
what makes the Bourne Identity a good movie in my eyes is the core mystery to it. It's
Right.
Matt
Right.
Damon
Right.
wakes up and has no idea who he is, but he's a super weapon. And how do you like solve that mystery? Once
Yep.
you get past that, it's just any other spy thriller action series. And so, what is the actual value of the Bourne Identity?
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's in the idea. I don't think it's in the lore. I think it's in Matt Damon. And
Yeah.
so, if you're going to buy the rights to this, I think you have to go all in on Matt Damon. I think you have to milk it for what it's worth, because I don't know that there's much to gain from the world of the Bourne universe. That's my opinion, at least.
I feel like this is the same thing as John. This is like the John Wick thing, which I do think a lot of the John Wick movies are very fun. Are they like good? I don't know, but like so much of the first one is like, wow, what if this guy who's the best hitman in the world came out of retirement just because his dog, like not just because his dog died, and then
Mm.
every subsequent movie has been like, but also there's a lot of other really good hitmen. Like, but the point was that he was the one amazing hitman. Like, and so like it's like who cares about the coins from the remember when they did the movie that was just about the Continental or like the TV show on
Yep.
Peacock? It's just about the hotel. It's like the point of the hotel is that it's kind of cool in the John Wick movie. It's maybe less cool when you're like, here's 5 hours about the Continental Hotel. Kind of feel
Yeah.
like maybe that's the same about the Bourne Identity.
Well, and what I will say is that I am also a bit bored with the John Wick series, but I think that what the John Wick series has, at least, is that the lore of that show feels pretty unique, feels
Yeah,
pretty
fair.
interesting at
Mhm.
times, even though it gets a bit way too ridiculous, a bit
It
way too
feels kind of
ridiculous.
what's the one where it's like where there's like all the gangs and there's like warriors. Is it Warriors? Is that the movie where it has like basketball? It has like baseball
Oh, like back
players
in the
and like
day,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Warriors
Warriors come out to
come out to
play.
play.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like,
Um,
what if there's this type of hitman? What if there's this type of hitman? What if there's this group of hitmen over here? That's kind of what I feel like John Wick is a little bit.
yeah, but like what it does have also is like a very good sense of action
That's true.
and like choreography that something like the Bourne Identity is a bit more generic on, which and I will say the Bourne series was known for good action, but I wouldn't say quite as well known as John Wick. And what John Wick had all the way through is Keanu Reeves.
Well,
And so,
yes.
and of course we have Ballerina recently, which did not do as well.
Well,
So
Well, I think the thing about the difference between Bourne and Wick, I think Wick kind of grew into its set where it was like it slowly became like a huge thing. People can correct me if I'm
mm,
wrong. Whereas I think the Bourne Identity came out and was like, oh my god, this is huge, and then has been like diminishing returns since. Where like they did try this, they tried the Legacy thing with Jeremy Renner, right? They tried the Bourne,
yep,
yeah,
they tried
the
it.
Bourne Legacy. That was Tony Gilroy. That's an Andor. That's the Andor guy who did
Hmm.
the Bourne Legacy.
Well, the Tony Gilroy was the Born Identity as well, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that
he
well,
wrote it.
all of this makes sense then. Yeah. Well, he directed
Um,
the Legacy, so yeah.
so, I mean,
Um,
maybe that's the real answer is if you can get Tony Gilroy
yeah,
to
yeah,
run this, then
yeah,
yeah, he'll come up with something that's very good.
yeah.
But I think there's some name recognition, but I think it's really just about either like a ton of really good talent like Tony Gilroy, or you get Matt Damon, you milk it for what it's worth. I just don't think the idea of the Bourne universe itself is good enough to carry,
Yeah.
personally.
Okay, I have one other small bit of news, and it was kind of covered already on RHAP because it's not totally scripted, but I do think it's TV and it's interesting. But and I believe if I'm correct, Taryn, you're not the highest on the Traitors formats.
Hmm.
Is this correct? But they are coming out with an American civilian version, which is
Yes.
interesting because Britain is doing the opposite. Where Britain has always been civilian, and now they, I believe, it's already filmed and should be coming out some point is a British celebrity version of the Traitors, but America going back to basics kind of and getting rid of all the celebrities for one season, which is kind of and I do feel like this is like similar to the Bourne conversation of like what can we continue to get out of out of these things,
Well,
which is
correct me
an
if I'm wrong.
additional whole season per year.
Yeah, this is an additional season, not replacing the celebrity
100%.
version.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't think the Traitors format can carry with civilians. I think like shows like the Apprentice before it, like
In
it
America, I think
is.
this is true. Have you watched the UK Traitors?
I have not watched. I know that people love it, so
And
I'm gonna say that.
can I tell you though, the reason why people love it, I don't think is going to translate to the American version, which is there is something about the way that the British people play that game show, like it is life and death. It is Shakespearean in the levels of like how hurt they feel. That
Well,
I think American television is not in that stasis. Like we're not.
we've been
Yeah.
we've been doing
Yeah.
competitive social strategy games for 25 years now.
Yes.
They've been doing public votes you out games
Right.
for most of that. Like the circle
Yeah.
was scandalizing for
Right.
them.
Right.
And so they're still like dipping their toe into the water when it comes to games like this. And the Traders itself is still pretty tame in terms of like the way that you would approach it. But it's still able to be cloaked in a veil of morality that is like we're trying to get out the bad people. Um, and so it makes some sense to me that this, but I just don't think it has a lasting. Personally, I just don't think it can last long term with the mainstream audience in the way that the current U.S. Traders has. Um, Even like other international versions that I've seen that have done well often do still have celebrities involved, even if they're a mix, even if they're whatever.
Yeah.
Like Magnus Mitbo is on,
Right.
the his version, and like I think that the civilian version can do fine because the Traders is just super hot right now. But and so I don't think it. I think it makes perfect sense for them to dip into that well to just keep the train going. But I personally do feel like they will run out of steam at some point, and I think that the cast is what keeps people coming back.
I agree. I mean, it's so interesting that they're doing it when Rob Cesternino did a really great confessional post, like Kevin Jacobs' newsletter that I
Mm.
think is on either hiatus or not, but it's really good, and it's about the like celebrity renaissance casting thing that every show, like Suri Fields going on Big Brother, and then Rachel going on Big Brother, the Survivor 50 stuff, the Australia versus the world that's happening overseas. This like idea that really I think the Traitors sort of wasn't the first to do it. I feel like the challenge has been doing this for years of just like bringing back the recognizable faces year after year. But the Traitors feel like that idea became so like, oh, this is a formula that works. I think it's really interesting that then the Traitors is like, what if we do not that, when it's kind of the one that I feel like ushered in this new era of um returning reality TV show
Well, I
contestants.
mean, the big thing about it is that, and I think one of the reasons why these networks were reluctant to do things like that before is that you have to pay your talent a lot
Right.
more
Right.
if
Right.
you're not exploiting regular people.
Right.
And so the Traders known for treating its contestants much better and paying them a lot more.
Right.
And so I have to imagine that part of them is like, well, if we can squeeze in some seasons where we don't need to pay our cast, the cost is going to be much lower. If the return is similar, then we make more money. And
So true.
so, it like, enshittification is very much a thing nowadays. Maybe
Yeah.
they will try to, now that they have their captive audience, they will try to cut costs and see if they can maintain as much of a success as they were without having to spend all that money.
What'd be funny is when the circle completes, when somebody who was on the civilian version of the Traitors ends up on the celebrity version of the Traitors, because they are that now have a platform to build new
Yeah.
reality stars. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I don't really know. I don't really know anybody that has made a name for themselves who wasn't a previous reality star from the Traders.
Yeah, there are certainly some UK people I can think of, but I mean the problem with the Traitors US version is that even that first season that was half civilian ended up you got washed out because like Sarit was there, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah.
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 All right. Well, some interesting news after all.
Yeah.
But the big thing of the day, of course, Alien Earth started airing this week. We got 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I watched both of them.
Me too.
I have thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are not as good as I hoped.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like this. I do feel like I feel like there is this like range of people being like, "Oh, this is amazing," to people being like, "Yeah, I think you're like, oh, I wish it was a little better." People bumping up against it a little bit. It's certainly trying to do a lot. I mean, there's a world where like Noah Hawley slow rolled this a little more. I mean, spoilers, you certainly see xenomorphs, you saw them on this week's episode of Alien Earth. So he's jumping right into it. Um, but yeah, tell me more about your like wanting it to be better.
Basically, when we are introduced to the show, there are kind of 2 main stories. There's what I think is a very interesting story about the nature of humanity
Mm-hmm.
and robotics and consciousness. Um, and then there is uh, the 1979 Alien movie.
Uh-huh. Yes.
um,
Uh-huh.
and then over the course of 2 episodes, these 2 things, again, not really, I think, significant spoilers, but like these 2 things start to combine.
Yeah.
And uh, we're getting a lot more of the Alien movie than we are of the other thing, I think. But it's combined in such a strange way. Um, we should maybe do some spoiler talk on this at the end of the podcast. But
Okay.
basically,
Yeah.
my issue is that like it doesn't feel like the setup, the situation that they have set up for the show is strong enough to carry an entire season of a show. It should be a movie. But then some of the things that they're trying to explore is show worthy, but they're exploring it in a setting, in a situation that isn't appropriate for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say is the critic score is a fair bit higher. And I've seen a little more, and I do think I think what you're saying is totally true. And also, like, not like we'll get there, but like, basically, I'm just like confirming that what I think you're saying is very true, because I do think the most interesting part, and this is full premise, if I'll stick in premise, which is that like they can extend the lives of these children who like maybe like have an incurable disease, and they're put into synthetic bodies. And so this is what Noah Hawley is sort of like, when I spoke to him, this is what he's saying, is that he is thinking like, what if adult brains are like too far gone for this type of thing to like be put into another, and actually like the only people who can, and who are like, who's the most human of any of us other than children who have yet to be, you know influenced by the rest of the world. And so what if you put humans in this situation, or children in these situations, and then like, do they choose to still be human? Can humanity survive? He's essentially saying this is a Peter Pan story inside of Alien Earth. And I agree.
Mm.
That's to me and these are the things that like, when I talk to Noah, these are the things that like are front of mind for him. Is like humanity and the core aspect of who we are. He has a little bit of this like, synthetics are the future, and alien, like the xenomorph, is the past, because like, uh, and that was a little hard for me, but like his reasoning here is that like, what's the most basic form of humanity, which is I try to hunt you down and eat you, basically. That's it. So that's like the past, and then there's the technology future, very primal versus moving forward. And those are ideas that I'm like, oh yeah, like let's go, let's do it. Like I love this idea. He also said, when I asked him, like, he's taken on all these IP franchises. He did Fargo, and he did Legion, which is X-Men, and now he's done this. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I just like, they asked me to do something and I do it. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. He's like, they just, FX asked me, and he's like, yeah, I think that they asked me to do it because they'll get an original story in the IP. At the same time, I do think like a lot of the first 2 episodes, it does feel very Alien. I mean that in terms of like homage and in line with the show. To me, there's a little bit of the first 2 episodes that feel like what he wants to do versus what he feels like maybe he has to do, because he's doing an alien show and you have to have
Right.
aliens in it. And I do feel like he balances that better as it goes along. But hear you that I think that's what people maybe are bumping up against in these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the alien is by far the least interesting part of the show.
Right. But it's called Alien Earth. And he's like,
Right.
he said that. He's like, if I don't put like aliens in the like, he's like, if I try to just immediately do a Peter Pan story, everyone's going to turn up. He literally says, like, people will turn it off because I got to have aliens in the alien show. He said this basically. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll maybe come back to this because I think we can maybe talk in a little more detail if we go into spoilers. So stick around to the end of the podcast if you want more Alien Earth conversations. In the meantime, you did say that you checked out Butterfly.
Yeah. So Butterfly, this is an Amazon Prime show. It has Daniel Day Kim in it. Most people might know him from Lost. I thought this is like exactly what I thought. It's like a actiony, he's like an intelligence operative. So a lot of action, a lot of gun shooting in the first. There's like a really fun kind of like heisty type thing that happens at the beginning, but like it was not that interesting for me to check it out until basically the end of the first episode. Is like, oh, that's an interesting enough twist that maybe if I thought this was a little bit better, I might stick with it, but I probably won't. The good thing is that it's like all available. Like it's a show I probably would have forgot about if it was week to week. But part of me is like,
It's such a classic formula for shows like this that are on the binge model and fairly generic, but then they throw in a twist at the end of the first episode. But then you keep watching, and it's usually still just a pretty generic show.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. I feel like I've almost seen probably the best that Butterfly has to offer, which is the end of the first first episode, and it probably doesn't get much better than that. So maybe I'll just leave it and pretend that this is a show that like had a ton of promise. We'll see. Most people really like it, but I have not heard much about Butterfly this past week. So, yeah, but I watched it.
We talked about highest to lowest. I did not see this movie, but really, I guess there's not much more to say on it. There's not like there's been a massive response to it yet either, because I don't think it's a wide release yet.
Yeah, somebody reached out to me, was like, did you watch this? And I said no because a movie theater near me, I like sort of like one theater style, like local theater, is playing High to Low on Tuesday night. And so I'm tempted to wait and go watch High to Low and then go watch Highest to Lowest. So I did put off going to see Highest to Lowest. But yeah, I think people like mostly like this. I think the thing that people keep being like, why wasn't this marketed more? Why wasn't this out there? Which I think is certainly true. Like it's playing at the TIFF Theater, which is like typically is play where movies play that don't really have other distribution. Like if it's going to play at our big theater, it'll play there, and it won't play at TIFF, but it's playing at the Lightbox. So yeah, it doesn't have a wide distribution. I don't think, but people seem to like it.
Apple TV for you though, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting this is an Apple TV movie. I keep forgetting that. Yeah. Okay.
And then Nobody 2 came out this week over the weekend. I think 6.8 on IMDb. I think that's fairly in line with what the first one, 7.4 for the first one. So maybe a slightly lower response here for Nobody 2. I haven't heard much about this in terms of like people being like, oh, it's really good. It's just kind of like, yeah, look at it's another one.
I think in the American box office too, it got beat by Freakier Friday, which people seem to be really liking. I guess I don't know. I'm kind of gonna wait for Freakier Friday. I think to hit I have not been. The problem that I've told you about before, Taran, is when I'm like, I should go watch a movie, and then there'll only be like one movie and I'm like, no, not worth it. So there needs to be like 2 to 3 movies I want to see in the theater for me to feel like it's worth it to go jaunt out to the movie theater, and I just haven't felt that so far. And I haven't seen Nobody 1, so I have not got, which I'm sure I don't need to see the first movie, but I haven't. But yeah, I feel like the fact that it was 3rd in the American box office feels like not great. Should have been better. But it's also like a bit of an August. August tends to be a bit of a slow movie.
I mean, I think it wasn't a bad weekend in general. Weapons
did good again.
Did very well. And as you mentioned, Freakier Friday also doing pretty decently for its second weekend. So, I guess we'll continue to keep track. There are some upcoming things. Anything else from the week that you either watched or new thing?
No, that's about it.
I am still watching Dexter, and it's still awesome. Just
so fun.
Really fun. Really fun. But of course, the upcoming show, Peacemaker Season 2. This is a weird one in terms of its sort of continuity, canonness. So Peacemaker is the John Cena character from the Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
um, the the James Gunn version,
Mhm.
who then had his own show. This was, I thought, a great show. I thought this was
Yeah.
a very fun show. Season one, it was very like tongue in cheek, but just like a good time. I will say, I don't remember the plot line of it at all. And it came
Yes.
out just a couple years ago.
Mhm.
So, not exactly like a plot heavy show, I would say, but just the vibes are fun. I remember just being very, very fun and enjoyable to watch.
Well, I think the thing
Season
that's
two,
good about it is that it is very fun and enjoyable, and then it is like also like secretly like, oh, it's also gonna be real sad. It's gonna be like real traumatic backstory stuff, which is my favorite blend of things, which it does. Yeah.
so season two is about to drop. Now, my understanding is that season two is now going to be part of the new canon in the new DCU, from James Gunn taking over. Whereas season one is not necessarily in the canon as definitively. Um, I don't think that really matters ultimately. I think, like I said, I barely even remember what happened in season one. I think all that really matters is who Peacemaker is, John Cena as Peacemaker. He's probably still got his bird, and probably some of the fun characters from season one will return. And the only difference is now it'll be in the same universe as Superman.
And I think like just to help out here, also like he wasn't Peacemaker was technically in Superman. He was
Yes,
on a television
small
screen in
cameo.
Superman, but he was in Superman. I've seen this season, and what I'll say is like I feel like this is all very much I feel like it's almost more to be like, yeah, it's kind of what I feel like the show does a good job of being like, here's the deal, and you can just go and watch it, especially if you watch season one of no problem. Think people could they also do, I think, a fine job of like setting up what happened in season one if you want to jump into this. I think the most fun thing about the show is its intro. It's like it had a very notable
Yes.
opening credits, and they have a new one for this season, so that's
Mm.
fun. The show's good. I think it's really good. I like it. I'll have an interview coming
I
out with Jennifer Holland later this week.
It genuinely was one of my favorite TV seasons of the year 2022. I really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I imagine, having not seen season two myself, given how James Gunn operated in Superman, where we just jumped right in, he gave you everything you needed to know, and then we just went from there. I'm not super concerned. Like, this doesn't feel like, whereas Marvel, I'm often like, all right, which shows have I
There's
missed
just too
now?
much.
What
There's too
movies?
much,
And it's
right?
just, I think that James Gunn is operating under, we're starting fresh, but also I'm just going to tell you what you need to know anyway. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think to some degree, like I think we sometimes like over hype up like how much homework is needed to watch a Marvel thing. Like I feel like if you went to watch like the Marvels, you were totally fine to have not seen anything that came before. But there is a thing. There's just so much compared to like we're pretty slim so far on the DCU. It's Superman and then this show, so you're gonna be totally fine.
Mhm.
James Gunn wrote every episode of this season. He directs the pilot episode or like the season premiere and the finale and a couple other episodes. It's very James Gunn. I think if you like the like sort of wacky, there's a lot of characters. It's very gory. This feels like a Gunn staple. I think it's unsurprising to think that like he kept this in his new thing, because I think it just is very in line with him.
Mhm.
So yeah, worth checking out,
Well,
I think. Mhm.
looking forward to it for sure. There's another show called Hostage coming out. This feels such like a classic kind of British um, thriller, I guess you'd call it. But it's gonna be on Netflix, so that means it actually has a chance to pop off if it's good enough. It's got some classic British thriller actors in it.
Mhm.
Whose names
Yeah,
I wouldn't
certainly
know,
does.
but whose faces I certainly recognize. And it's pretty standard fare in terms of like the plot. There's PM's husband is kidnapped, political leaders face choices. who's threatening them. Somebody's being held hostage, right? Like that's pretty basic stuff, but it might be very fun. So,
This
keep an eye
looks
out.
like a mix of so many shows on Netflix. Looks like a mix of like The Diplomat and Department Q. That's what. Oh, he wrote Bridge of Spies. Yeah. Okay. All right. I get it. I know what this. I
This
know
is,
what this is.
I would say this is like the British thriller, the British political or whatever thriller. Usually, I would say a slightly higher standard than the American Netflix spy thriller.
I agree. I feel like it's like in the same mold as Diplomat, but like more serious than The Diplomat.
And they're usually, only 5 episodes, which is way better in my opinion, when it comes to
okay.
this sort of thing. So
Hostage.
we'll yeah. There's also, I thought this was interesting. Long Story Short, a new animated show coming out with, a cast of Dave Franco, Lisa Edelstein, Ben Feldman, Max Greenfeld, a bunch of people here, Nicole Byer. And this is by, according to its marketing, the creators of BoJack Horseman, with a new animated
Oh yeah.
comedy.
Yes. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, I've seen this a little while ago. I didn't realize it was coming out so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also on Netflix. So obviously BoJack Horseman, a classic at this point. Do they have another good one in them? We'll see.
Well,
I will say I don't love the animation style, even in BoJack Horseman, but
I think the good news is that they already did a one. They already got the bad one out, which was Tuca and Birdie.
well, that's
that
the
not?
Tuca and Birdie, I believe, was also by them. And I think I heard that it was fine. It was good. Even some people liked it a lot, but it certainly did not pop off in the same way.
Apparently, that's not the same. Apparently, Tuca and Birdie was created by someone. It's, I think, very similar animation style, but looks like it was not made by Raphael Bob Walks.
I wasn't sure, but like, yeah, it's a similar animation style, and also it's about like animals.
I think this is Lindsay Wilson because they did after BoJack Horseman.
I mean, how do you not think this is by the BoJack Horseman people? Like, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I think Lindsay Wilson tricked me, I think is what I'm gonna say. Oh, executive produced by Raphael Bob Waksberg. So
from the creative team behind BoJack
yeah,
Horseman.
there you go. Okay, all right. We're right. Apologies to Lindsay Wilson for saying.
But this says the creative team, so this is not necessarily like. Whereas the marketing for Long Story Short is from the creator of BoJack Horseman.
Yes. Difference is that Raphael Bob Waksberg was a executive producer on Tuca and Birdie, but he is the creator of Long Story Short. So.
If you did not watch BoJack Horseman, it was a pretty like crass kind of comedy that had a ton of heart, and it was very dark. And it was that heart and darkness that that really propelled the show forward in a really compelling way. So, if they're capable of making something else like that, I'm certainly on board for it.
Apparently, he did another show before this one called Undone, which apparently was on Amazon Prime Video.
No, I watched Undone, I think.
Apparently, that was created by
Raphael. That was a good show, though. Wait, is it this show? Undone?
Yep.
No, yeah, that was good.
And it
was a weird show, but it was good.
Oh, it's already aired 2 seasons as well.
I don't think I watched the second season, though. That's what happens when it's on Prime.
That is so true. You're like, yeah. I presumed this was a cop show, so I didn't watch it. Okay, well, we've done long story short, exciting.
Yes, definitely exciting. Yeah, I watched season 1 of Undone, and actually, according to I gave it a 6 out of 10. So maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought. I remember it being very unique and interesting, but maybe not the most entertaining show that I've ever watched. But
the logline for Long Story Short also is, I believe it's like 3 siblings who are all Jewish, who are like sort of looking back at their childhood, so like retelling the story of their very religious upbringing. That's the plot.
All right. Well, a couple of other ones. Just gonna kind of quickly run through these because I don't think there's anything too compelling to me, at least. But The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox is a whodunit biography crime drama on Hulu. I don't know if this I did not look into this super deeply, but it sounds like it's based on a true story. Amanda Knox sounds familiar to me. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
Amanda Knox, I believe, is the woman who was accused of murdering her roommate, but it turned out that not to be true. I
Spoilers.
believe.
Uh,
Oh, sorry, big
no,
spoilers
no,
for the show. Yeah, I feel like it was a
it
big
does
news
say
story. I feel like it
this.
was a
The
yeah.
show seems to follow her after being wrongfully accused.
Phew. Yeah.
And her battle to prove her innocence. Okay, so another one of those shows. Those can be popular. I know people who really like these kinds of shows that are based on like true stories. And then another one, King and Conqueror, is another, I believe, British drama. This one more of a historical drama from the BBC. Another pretty classic British type of show. This one starring
Jamie
Jamie
Lannister. So
Lannister.
fun. I know.
Yeah.
We were like, should we say Nicholas Coster-Waldau? No.
No, we're
Say
gonna say Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister. Do you know what? I saw this. I was like, oh, this is so annoying. I'm gonna love this show. I think that I'll at least watch this. I love a show like this. So
Could be very good.
this is
Some of
like my
these are very,
favorite
very
time
good.
period. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He wrote for Sherlock. That's a good sign.
Yes. So that's it for shows from my end that I noticed.
A couple movies this week,
Yes.
including one that we've talked about on this podcast before, and it's getting its American release, which is the believe the highest grossing. What is it? What is Ninja 2? What I
Oh,
can't remember what
Ninja.
it's can't remember what its accolade is, but it highest grossing something. Whether that's
Based on domestically, like it has made the most amount of money in a single country, basically.
Made $2.2 billion in
China.
In China. That might be inside and outside of China, but yeah.
It made close to $2 billion, I think, primarily in China.
So
it may have made a little bit more.
A24 bought the rights to release it in America, which is interesting, I think.
So I went and watched, when we talked about this, I went and watched the first one, and it was a perfectly fine, animated movie. Like, honestly, like, you could have told me it was made by DreamWorks and I would have believed you. But the second one, obviously, even better received in terms of audience reception and made a bundle of money. I'm curious to see it. Really.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
There's also Eden.
Okay, I don't know what to do with. I think this movie is really good. I saw it at TIFF. This is a Ron Howard movie. I think this is. I think I said this at the time. We talked about Ballerina earlier. Anna de Armas was having a little bit of like, ooh, maybe she'll get nominated for her role in Ballerina. This is the movie Anna de Armas should be nominated for. She is so good in this movie. This is about based on a true story of some people who go to try to like move away and live on an island, and then some other people show up as well. That makes it sound like horror. It's not. It's like it's a drama thriller, they call it. I guess that's kind of accurate. Anna de Armas plays the Baroness, I believe is her character's name. Jude Law, Vanessa Kirby, Daniel Bruhl, people probably recognize from a bunch of stuff. Sydney Sweeney, bless her heart, she tries really hard in this movie, but she has to have, I believe, an Australian or British accent, and it's pretty. And it sounds. She may be supposed to be German and sounds Australian. See, this is how kind of bad it. Unfortunately, I actually really like Sydney Sweeney. This is rough. This is a little rough, but I liked Eden a lot, and kind of thought like if they held it, maybe it would have a bit of an Oscar chance. Maybe not Best Picture, but like it could get some acting. I liked Eden. I think it's worth seeing. But I will caveat that with I saw it at a festival, and sometimes that's a little bit like everyone who goes to a festival gets festival brain of like, oh, this is good, and other people say it's good. Doesn't have the greatest IMDb rating, but I
remember seeing a bunch of hype for this when it was first kind of like the posters were coming out, and people were like, oh, this looks really good, and then radio silence ever since, and now it's getting dropped with basically no marketing.
Like the problem is that I believe it didn't have distribution. There's a thing that interesting. I'll probably be talking about this a bit over the next, but like Toronto International Film Festival starts in early September. They have recently expanded their like industry presence. Basically, what they're trying to do is have more films come that don't have distribution in hopes that those films will get distribution. Eden was a film that like I think it would have been better off to, like, if it had better buzz coming out of TIFF and then got bought and then had an Oscar run last year, that would have made
Mm.
more sense. I feel like the fact that it like, for whatever reason, ends up coming out like late September is like not great for it. But I like it. This is certainly a movie that like nobody needs to rush out to the theaters to go see. But when it comes to streaming, I would
I
recommend people
thought
check
it
it out.
I thought it was gonna be a streaming movie.
It does kind of feel like a little bit like a streaming movie, but yeah. Anna de Armas
Yeah.
again, she's great. She's so good in this movie. So yeah, and Vanessa Kirby as well, having a big summer.
Mhm.
So yeah,
There's also a movie called Relay. Is this right?
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
David Mackenzie. And this is starring Riz Ahmed and Lily James and Sam Worthington. And so this one is coming out this week as well. A little action thriller. This one started. There's a bunch of movies coming out this week. It's just like not any really major releases, I would say. So I just kind of picked out ones that looked interesting to me personally,
David
and this was one of
Mackenzie,
them.
people would know if he was the director of Hell or High Water.
Mhm,
So that's the kind of vibe I think you could get from really. I really like Riz Ahmed. I like Lily James as well, and Sam
mhm,
Worthington. Um, this is another movie that premiered last year at the Toronto Film Festival, and I did not
mhm.
see it, but it's finally coming out. So, Relay.
A Any others that stood out to you?
I think I mentioned this last week, but I think Honey Don't is now getting a full release. This is the Margaret Qualley movie that's part of
Yes.
the like Ethan Cohen trilogy here.
Mhm.
So it's set in the same world but different characters. Has a great cast. Like Charlie Day is here, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I was
Honey.
surprised that, so far not a great rate, but it's only 300 ratings, so, like, it's not really that indicative.
Is Thursday Murder Club? Does that come out this week as well? Let me just double check the date on Thursday Murder Club.
I
August 22nd. Okay, Thursday Murder Club comes out on yeah, this week.
was
Is
the
a
28th.
oh, okay. Maybe it
Yeah,
okay.
Netflix on the
Mm,
28th.
okay. All right. We'll save it for next
Um,
week. Little tease.
well, it's up. This is another Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan vehicle.
Yeah, this is Richard Osman, if people know him from Taskmaster or basically any British panel show you've ever watched. He probably appeared on it at some point. He wrote these Thursday Murder Club books. I love them. I think that they're so fun. I was very excited for this to be made into a movie. The premise is these are four people who work in or live in a retirement home who on Thursdays go and like try to solve cold cases, and they get like wrapped up in like real actual events that are happening. It's very good. I believe David Tennant is in this as well. I'm
Directed by Chris Columbus as well, which is
yeah, that's big. Yeah.
very
Um,
fun.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I this could be very fun, I think, this movie, but, maybe we'll talk
it's a
about it more next week.
little unfortunate that it's a Netflix release, but that's okay.
What are you gonna do? Alright, should we go back to Alien?
Oh, should I say okay, I'm not wrong. It's having a 1 week theatrical release, so you might be able to go see it in theaters this week.
Okay.
It then drops on Netflix next week. I forgot. I believe that was the thing that Columbus asked for, and he got it. He got a 1 week theatrical release. You might be able to go see Thursday. Apologies,
Interesting.
interrupt. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up then and talk about Alien with some more spoilers involved, just to give some more detailed thoughts on Alien Earth. Um, so spoiler warning.
Spoilers.
Thank you for joining us. If you're gonna bounce out now because you haven't watched the episodes yet, but yeah, so I came in. I was very excited, um, and my biggest issue is that so basically we open up with this spaceship full of people. Um, we have what I thought was like a very exposition heavy set of dialogue between all these people who none of them even matter anymore anyway, except for the one. And I thought that was a bit unfortunate. I think we should have started with the child and the transfer. Um,
I agree.
and then the ship crash lands on in the city that the boy genius owns. The boy genius, the head of this one of these corporation companies, whatever. Um, and already I was like, I like my brain is a problem for me on this show in the sense that
Mhm.
I cannot turn it off.
Uh-huh.
As the ship is starting to crash land, I was like, well, obviously they're going to have some sort of mechanism for crashing ships on planets. No,
On
apparently
Earth?
it just shows up and nobody knew what happened.
Mhm.
And so already I'm like, okay, we're lowering that threshold. And then it became clear to me over the first episode and then into the second one that this is the whole show, is them exploring the wreckage of this crash, seemingly. And that really took me out of it. Like that really disappointed me because you can already, I've said this so many times about shows. I really hate when I feel like we're spinning our wheels. And in the first 2 episodes, I'm already feeling like they're spinning. Like we're introducing the alien, it's attacking, but he survives, but it's attacking again, and he survives again. It kills a room full of people, but not him, and he survives again. And it gets captured, but now it's escaped, and it's back again. And it's like we're going to be doing this for an entire season of a show. We're going to be walking around being attacked by an alien sometimes, but not killing it and it not killing us. And like, is this like, that was just like, I don't know. Like, that's not for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say is that, like, I feel like that is not, uh, I mean, yeah, I feel like Noah Hawley is saying, like, this is what the show is, and he's not being like, it's about different aliens. Like, he's not saying that. So I think, like, we get more, you know, I think like the aliens are definitely going to be a part of this, like different, like the whole, the premise being that it's like specifically a spaceship that was collecting different types of aliens is certainly, I mean, a thing that we'll probably continue to see. But to me, it seems like I was surprised too in terms of the first 2 episodes how quickly, like, so much of it seemed like it was going to be about the brother, like them trying to like find each other. And I was like, oh yeah, that feels like a full season thing too, right? Like of like even an 8th episode season, like you could certainly see where you could draw that out. Where like the sister in the different body is now going to try to get to her brother. They meet again in the second episode of the show. The one thing I mean, again, to be like a little bit of a defender of the show is I do feel like, I don't know, I trust Noah Hawley, I guess is the thing that I'll say. Where like certainly there have been seasons of Fargo that are less successful than other ones, I think, but I do think he is a person who kind of like to some degree burns through plot and then gets to somewhere that you didn't really think you were going. I think that that is true of like the latest season of Fargo. I don't really want to spoil that, but I think that that ends up like in an entirely different place than you might have expected when you started. And so I do think that to some degree, I trust Noah Hawley to like, you know, not have it be that thing that you're saying is the whole point of the season, but
I
we'll
hope
see.
so. I think like in particular, the end of the second episode really got to me where they do meet up, the brother and sister,
Yeah.
and they have this moment, and they do like this such like the thing where it's like they have an emotional moment, and then it's like, okay, now let's walk to the eggs
Mm-hmm.
and do the egg stuff,
Yeah.
and then alien comes out of nowhere and captures the brother off the cliff. And now we have to go into another rescue mission because we need to stall for more time. And I was
Yes.
just like, oh my God. And it's weird because I love Alien, the first Alien movie. I
Mm-hmm.
love the horror suspense thriller. I also love the contemplative drama about children getting transferred into bodies and finding their brothers, which is a classic, of course.
Classic.
I love both of these two things, but together they are not working for me. And it just feels like I don't know. Maybe Noah Hawley is not sort of experienced enough in the world of like horror thriller than as he needs to be for me at least. But I'm certainly willing to keep watching. I still like the show. I'm compelled by it. And I think maybe my expectations were a little too high initially,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I start liking it more. There are things I really enjoy about it, but yeah, that's my
I'm
main
Yeah.
issue.
I mean, I do think like a lot of people don't like. I'm really high on Noah Hawley, but I don't think everybody's high on, especially like some of the like middle Fargo seasons. Like people didn't like those seasons. And even Legion, I feel like was like weird. More so than
Very
people
weird.
were like, oh, a lot of people were like, oh, it's very weird. And maybe the show isn't being like weird enough, but yeah, I mean, again, to go back to like what I was saying about when I spoke to him and he was talking about like what he was asked to do essentially, which like the request that he got asked was like, can you make an alien show on Earth? That was full out the request that he was asked to do. And he talks about wanting to make people feel like they've felt before while doing something new. And so maybe this, this first 2 episodes are a little bit too much in the like you know, unsuccessfully like making people feel like uh it's something you've seen before, because
Yeah,
we've seen it rather than like figuring out what's the new twist on it.
it does feel to me like that he took an interesting show and smacked it onto an alien situation.
Right.
And the alien situation is an afterthought. Like, but the problem is it's getting in the way of the interesting show. Like it'd be one thing if it was just the backdrop, but it's like actively getting in the way for me. So hopefully that balances out a bit more in the future.
What's I think also interesting though is this is the first time he's done a show where he he there was never a world, like at least that seems like it, where it was like, oh yeah, and make sure you don't do this because there's more Fargo coming. Like X-Men to a degree, like Legion, but like obviously like nothing that he did in Legion is like I think gonna end up being part of any X-Men stuff that comes. This feels like the first time. This is like 2 years before the first Alien movie, and I know like we've never been on Earth in Alien before, but I wonder whether or not in some ways what you're feeling is like a little bit of a, like he's talked about the xenomorph as well. Like I asked him about that, about like the actual xenomorph, and he was like, yeah, well, like everybody puts their own spin on it, but you also can't like, and you don't want to be, you don't want to be so far away from being a xenomorph that it's like it has to kind of have that silhouette. But I wonder whether or not there's some world where he's a little more constrained than he's been before. I probably had this a little bit when he was doing Legion, just because it was part of all, but not even really. I feel like this is the most like he's kind of locked into the IP that he's working with. Like Fargo, he
Yeah, well,
got to
like
go
he has to
wherever he wanted.
I mean, I'm not the biggest like alien lore person, but like my understanding is he has to do an alien show on Earth, but then it can't also be like now everyone knows about the aliens, right? Because it was kind of like
100% in
an
the
unknown
Alien
thing,
movie. They didn't know the aliens existed when
right?
they were out in space. So
So it's like this big
yes,
thing happens, but we have to
right,
keep it a secret. So now all of a sudden we already have this like massive event, but we're containing it to this small space, but it also feels like a massive space because they're spending an entire season wandering around in it. Um, and but it all has to be contained. And yeah, it's just it.
well, what's funny, yeah, I mean, I guess that you made this point earlier that it kind of feels like it should be a movie, but he's talked about this too, where he's like, the there is a different mindset you have to have about characters when they're in a movie versus when they're in a television show. And in a movie, it has to be believable that they would survive for, no, he didn't say it has to be believable. It is believable that one person could maybe survive for like 2 hours on a spaceship away from an alien. Is it believable that a whole group of people could be around a bunch of aliens for an extended period of time? Like, at least 8 hours of television if the show is like an hour to hour, thing. So yeah, it is interesting that maybe it's like for you right at the moment, it's not really deviating enough from. Yeah, I mean that's what you said in terms of like it feels like a movie instead of a television show, or should have been a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, really fun to see Timothy Oliphant in this role, though.
he's a good.
I'm enjoying him.
I think Cindy Chandler is really good in her role so
She
far,
is
and
very good.
the brother too. Is it Alex Lothar?
Yeah,
Yeah,
playing
Alex
Herman.
Lothar. I feel like I have such a mis. I've so typecast him as like a little weird, little
It's
weirdo.
yeah. I'm struggling with his character. It's
A
just not
little,
working for me.
a little.
I don't
And
know if it's the right. He seems like a phenomenal actor, but it's just like something's off.
well, yeah, I just know him mostly from End of the Effing World, where
Yeah.
he's just like we get his internal monologue and he's a creep. So then the whole time I'm being like, you got to be a weirdo, man. I was funny. Their father is played by Noah Hawley in the second episode. That's him who in the
Huh.
flashbacks plays their dad.
I also really like the guy playing Smee, the
Jonathan J. Yeah,
synthetic that joined Wendy to find the brother. He's the most believable child in an adult body I think, of all of them.
I agree with that. And I think I saw a funny tweet that was like, all right, we put these small children in these synthetic machines to extend their life, their being for all eternity. Let's put them in the most dangerous situations we can imagine immediately, which, I presume they could maybe transfer the consciousness again if something happened to them, but we'll see.
We'll see. Either way, I'll definitely be continuing to watch it. It is only 8 episodes. We're 2 episodes in, and I mean, there's definitely a chance if it continue. I would say if it continues along these lines, and I continue to be sort of like frustrated, there is a chance I would drop it. But right now, I'm definitely interested in continuing.
Again, what I'll say is like the critic scores, and I presume that's from people who've seen a lot
More
of
of
the
it.
show, are
Yeah.
like it's a 96% critic score. It means 96% fresh versus a 73 on the popcorn meter.
I just don't want it to be like, yeah, by the end, it's great. You just have to
I
sit through all the wheel
totally
spinning.
I think that is totally fair. And I'm like trying to like couch and rethink about because I liked the first 2 episodes. I think they worked for
Mhm.
me. And so I'm trying to like not then just be like, no, but actually it's good because if you didn't like it the first 2 episodes as much, again, not saying it's bad. I'm trying to like counter whether or not I'm just saying, oh, it's good, you know? So I think your criticisms are really fair of the first 2 episodes. And I think if people butt it up, and I think this is what I've been seeing. I think people are either like, oh my God, that's amazing. And it feels like Alien and we're doing it, but it's, on Earth and a little bit different. Or people are kind of being like, this could be better though. That's, yeah.
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 All right. Well, that's it, I think, for the Tastemakers this week.
Even on a slow summer day, we can get to an hour.
Can always get to an hour. That is what we have for you. We will be back next week to talk through probably some Peacemaker. I'm actually, is Peacemaker doing weekly?
I believe Peacemaker is doing weekly.
Okay, so we'll talk about the premiere of Peacemaker. I'll definitely make sure to try to fit that in.
Yep, just one episode this week. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Okay.
All right. Well, in the meantime, check out my YouTube channel, Twitch, all of the stuff. Doing Patreon viewings of Australian Survivor versus the World, which is very fun. It's just started premiering.
First episode was delight. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a book called Behind the Mirror that you can pre-order, and all kinds of Big Brother coverage happening as well. Grace, what do you got going on?
Writing for Parade, writing on my Substack. I released a Weapons full review after we chatted with Taylor about it last week. I have This Century in Cinema. Last week, Omer came on, and people should listen to that just for his extremely bold movie takes. Tara, they are quite something. Literally,
it's not surprising coming from Omer.
Literally, he was like, Mad Max Fury Road is really boring. And then the next day, Celine Song came out with like there was a whole New York Times podcast about that process of the 100 times. And Celine Song was like, yeah, that movie's a masterpiece. And if people think it's boring, they don't get it. It's like literally the day after Homer was like, Mad Max Fury Road is pretty boring movie. Pretty boring movie. So yeah, anything I'm doing on social media at Hi from Grace, right? Go for Grace. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today. And we will see all of you next time.